Hey YouTube. So it's another cold day. It's not quite above freezing today. It was down in, what the heck did she tell me, 8 this morning. And now it's around 30. But this is supposed to warm up for over the next couple of days. So, still not ready to do any saw cutting. When the snow's off the mill, off the saw, and off of, not the saw, but off the wood pile, that's when I'm gonna start to do some cutting, hopefully. And I gotta get the kiln empty anyway. I know it's hard to see the temperature gauge over there at the moment, but it's 90 degrees in there and it's only 30 outside. It's pretty amazing. I know I haven't been going over a lot of this stuff because it's kind of cold out to be doing it. But if you listen to some of the small things that I say, like these wind or sun-operated drying kilns are really worth building because they don't cost that much to build and you get a lot of use out of them. You can't ask for a nicer sunny day. There's no clouds in the sky or anything, but it's still pretty cold out. You can see the road there is kind of frozen yet. It's not shiny, wet looking. Depending upon where the sun is hitting, like right in this open spot here, I would say there's anywhere between 6 and 12 inches of snow left in there. It all depends on whether the sun's hitting it or not. We were just back further up there in the woods, and the snow is definitely over 12 inches deep yet. So between 6 and 12 inches or slightly more. And this cold weather now that we're having is what's helping that to stay like that. But you can see, like on the roadway here and stuff, that the stone absorbs some heat and it melts the snow. But when you look, probably from the road to the top of this snowbank, I don't know, it's probably about 18 inches, and you can see that the snowbank's a little higher than what's in there now. And it looks like they're supposed to be calling for some nice weather in the high 30s the rest of this week. We still have 3 more months of winter, so I'm not really certain if this is going to go away. In town there's no snow. I was in town this morning. I had to get my truck inspected, which I did, and I needed to pick up some stuff for my wife, and there's no snow in town anywhere. Maybe like at the biggest piles that somebody made to plow the snow, but other than that, nothing. And now with this warmer, it was very cold this morning, this little bit of warmer temps. I don't know if you can see Bullseye's going down into the snow there with his paws a little bit. So even though the snow's warming up, you know, it's not exactly melting, but it's not as frozen as it was like yesterday and the day before. Hey YouTube, it's Saturday. 22nd, I believe, of February. Past couple days I didn't put a video up because I've had some personal things that I've had to do, a little bit of running here and there that not really interesting except to us by ourselves. You can see today it's about 35 degrees, so we've got some mud coming up. I still have a lot of ice though, and there's still pretty much snow over here. So hopefully we're going to get rid of some of this snow and stuff soon, because I can't wait to get going on the sawmill again. But I'm not going to do it while I have all this snow in the way. I wanted some help this past year, especially for winter, to keep the snow away from the sawmill, but my helper quit. And I wasn't able to get it shoveled right. Just happens as you get older, I suppose. But anyway, it's 100 degrees in there today, or 2 points off of 100. I can see it from here. So that's really great that that wood is drying nice like that. I can't wait for spring. I hope this year is a lot better than last year. We had so much rain last year. Because I need to get some of these things done. I want to finish the crane over there. I want to get this pile of logs here cut up. And I want to do some explaining about the lumber that you get out of it too. The rough cut and, well, not the rough cut, but the quarter sawn and stuff. So that people can understand where you're supposed to use that wood and why it's so valuable. Boy, this looks like it's going to be hard to get up. So anyway, got to get the dog out, and that's where I'm headed this morning now. Right.
Okay. What a good boy. Oh my goodness, you're all finished. Now you want your treat because you ate? Oh, come on. You're a good boy. What a good puppy. I love you, baby boy. Oh yeah, Mommy loves bullseye. Oh, yeah, I do. You're the best boy. You're the best puppy. Now that's it. Now you go see Daddy. Huh?
Well, I had to run into town again today, and Sally needed another pair of these. The metal pieces that are on the bottom from her walking on the ice and stuff over the past 2 months. Broke, and she catches onto the carpeting that's in our mud room, so it doesn't help her to walk. So we picked up another pair. You can see the price of them there. I think I don't know, she didn't fall at all since she's had these, and the ice has been bad out there. I fell twice, but she hasn't fallen at all, and I think they're worth the money. It'd be nice if they lasted longer, but they work really well. And as far as I'm concerned, for 3 months of winter, you're looking at 66, 67, 68, 69, so $70 for the winter to not break your leg. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. So anyway, that's what we had to pick up today. It's still just as snowy and icy and cold as it was before. You can see there's pretty much snow out there yet, so it's not like we've really lost anything. I can't wait to get to starting to do some work outside. This is ridiculous. Well, YouTube, I think it's the 23rd today, and of February. You can see the temperature there is around 42. So we're getting some loss of snow there. You can see it. Today, Sally and I are going to do a little bit of planting. Not in the dirt, we're going to do some hydroponic planting in the office for lettuce, because we're missing some good lettuce. A lot of animals running around out there looking for the feed. So they've eaten everything we had here this morning already. So it ought to be a nice day with the bright sun. No, there's no clouds in the sky today. It's nice. So we'll see what happens. It's supposed to rain or snow Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we should enjoy the day as best we can now, because we're not going to have it all week. Well, today looks like a spring day with all the water laying around, but truthfully, you can't believe that. It's only February 23rd. There's 2 more months of winter left. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. Well, you can see it's 100 in there today, Sunday. I'm going to see if I can't get rid of some of the snow. I don't think I'll be able to, because it's nothing but ice underneath there, but just see what I can do here. It's a nice day. It's around 45 now. Well, you can see we've got an inch of ice there yet, about maybe half an inch, and probably 8 inches of snow on top of it. So in the woods, there's somewhere between 4 and 12 inches of snow depending upon how the sun hits it. Well, you can see I cleaned up some of the snow there. Kind of a tight squeeze for the backhoe, but the ice on the bottom of the snow, the small tractor's having a hard time pushing it, so I used the backhoe here. And it's still messy. It's a muddy mess. The ice is still on the concrete there to where I would walk if I was cutting. So I'm just not going to cut yet. I'm going to wait because I can't take any chances of getting hurt. Only because of my age. So we just have to see what happens over the next couple of days. It's supposed to be warm, kind of. So if I can get the ice to melt off the concrete and stuff, I might be able to clean this up good and do a little work here. But for myself, I'm just beat right now after doing all that I just did. It's probably around, getting close to 3:30 or so anyway. And Bullseye was out running around all day, so that ought to be good for him. Muddy, icy mess at the moment. I'm in the greenhouse and I just wanted you to see this. The relative humidity in here is only about 36%, which is not very bad for, storing lumber. It's a good amount. Now, if you were going to be making furniture with the lumber right away, you might want to leave it sit in a dry spot for a day or so, but that's about it. So I'll show you what I have stocked in here so far. Okay, so in my greenhouse, and I have the roof up there with where the sun can come through, and we just had the snowstorm the other day, so that's coming off the roof again. Now the temperature in here is about 60 degrees right now, and that is a good temperature with that relative humidity that I just showed you to store this lumber at. So there's a couple boards here that have some cracks in the edges and stuff, and this was from 2 years ago, a couple on the bottom, but they're mainly 1x12, 1x8, 1x6, and like I say, this is all red oak here. So this is all pretty nice wood. It's been planed, but it's not like finished planing. In other words, you could, plane it again to get it to whatever you needed for a certain thickness that you might need to do some work with. There's a lot of these excuse me, these boards that I cut are just cut from top to bottom on red oak, and they're put in here. So if you look close there, you can see that there's slab cuts, there's some right angle cuts. In other words, everything that you could possibly want right here to get off of a log is what I've got off the log. And the wood is pretty dry, and especially the stuff on the bottom there. It's ready to make furniture at this point. There's no doubt about that. The wood is all pretty nice. Like I say, there's a crack here or there, but these cracks, like if you look at the edge here, you can see there's a crack here, but when you look on the top, it only goes a ½ an inch, and I allowed for like 3 inches of cracking. But you hardly ever build anything out of red oak that's going to be 8 foot long unless you're going to be making molding. Now I've made all the molding that I'm going to make for right now. I probably got 3,000 or 4,000 feet of molding up at my other house that I'm working on. But this stuff here is, for furniture that I want to make. So then over there, you can see where the color changes. That's cherry on top of that. Now there's some cherry 3x3s, 2x6s, all kind of sizes. Some on the bottom underneath there. There's quite a few nice, really cherry boards. And I don't want to use them for just anything. I want to make sure I use them for something good. Then you're looking at 2x2s here that I want to plane and use for the porch railing. The spindles for the porch, as well as all these other 2x2s I have laying here. I just thought I was going to have more help, and I would have done this all winter, but my help left, so that's all there is to that. Anyway, so then if you look around here a little bit, on the opposite side, this is all white oak here. None of this has been planed except those top two boards. The rest of that is all white oak, and then there's pine. From here, you got 2x6s, 2x4s, 2x4s, 1x pine, all kinds of 1x here, 1x6, and the pine isn't bad. That's rough cut pine that I didn't plane or anything yet. And then down in here, there's 2x6s that I want to use, and then there's a whole skid, or not a whole skid, but a whole pile here of 1x12, which. Like I say, just remember, I always leave extra, like that end over there. If you look at that, you'll see the end split a little bit, but part way down there it's not split. I leave the boards a little long then, so those are 10 footers. These are 8 foot 1x6, and then there's some 1x8 underneath that. So, you know, this is just the lumber that I stopped, plus what's all in the kiln over there. Okay, that's got 1,500 board feet or better in there. So the lumber piles up pretty quickly and end up with some nice stuff. When you first cut it, you say to yourself, oh, I gotta wait a year or two to use it. You'd be surprised how fast that time goes by. You know, it's really not a big deal. You can see how nice that lumber looks on the side there, how nice and straight that is. Now this top one here has been laying here, it's cupped a little. And if you look at the way the grain goes in here, that is how it would have cupped. So, you know, if we just roll this over and leave it sit like that for a while, chances are it's going to lay back down. But I wouldn't use this for like a table surface. I would cut this into boards and use it for something like that. Now for a table surface, like you can see, I know there's a crack in here, but this has the grain straight up and down there. That would be a good board for that. Here's another good board, there's a good board. So you want to look at the right things. You know, quarter sawn is the best for a tabletop. As far as I'm concerned, once you're done with it, you don't have to fool with it, it's finished. So, and some of these 2x2 down in here are hickory, which I want to turn into legs for tables, and you just haven't gotten to do it yet. For one thing, I bound myself up in the garage with so many metal things that I'm making that I don't really get a chance to work on any woodwork. But I'm thinking that this spring, I've got two things that I need to do. I need to get this wood turned into furniture, and I need to get the house up there finished being trimmed out. And it's hard to do when you're by yourself and you're my age. I got to tell you that. So anyway, this is where I'm at with this lumber, and it's beautiful stuff. I mean, you can look at the grain on this white oak here. It's really nice. A little bit of maple laying off to the side here. But I want to make some white oak beds. I want to make the back, the headboard, and the footboards out of white oak, and I have enough white oak to do that. It's just, you know, I haven't had the best time to do that, the best time in the world to do that. So, man, I can tell you it's really warm in here. I have my coat off and stuff, and it feels really hot in here. I haven't had any problems with anything in here as far as mice or anything like that, you know, bothering the wood. There was one point where I brought some pine in here, and it had some sap on it, and ants came in here and were after it. But I sprayed really good. I sprayed around everything, and then I started spraying around the building, and that stopped everything from, you know, there's nothing in here now, so I don't have to worry about that. But there's ways to handle that. I mean, if you raise the temperature high enough, you can get rid of that. Usually around 130 or so is good to get rid of insects. Now, I can get it up to 130 in here without a problem, but I don't really like doing it because it's, you know, it's a waste of my fuel oil and stuff, because it'll go up to 120 in the summertime in here as long as you keep the door shut. That's all you got to do, and it'll easily go up there. So anyway, that's where we're at this point. And believe me, I wish I had a little bit of help. If I had some help here that was reliable and was good with wood, I would be okay, but at the moment I don't. And I don't want to have to hire somebody for a full-time thing. I was hoping I could get one of the kids over here to help me and learn, but it doesn't seem like any of them want to really help or learn, so I'm not going to worry about it. This spring, like I say, my wife and I have some plans on what we're going to be doing, so maybe I can get her to help me. And she's getting tired too. I mean, she's 76. She's tired herself. And I have some blades over there that are brand new, still laying in the box I've never even used. When I'm cutting some good stuff, I usually put a new blade on because I want to get some nice boards out of it. Some people had asked me about using quarter sawn, what you actually use the quarter sawn boards for. And just to give you an example, if you look at this board, which I showed a minute ago, you see the board has a little warp to it, okay? It's got a bow in it, or not a bow, but a bend. And it's because of the cut that it is. You can actually see the long cuts in there. Okay, as far as the sawmill went. Now, when you look at something like this has some also, but it's right in the very, maybe 1.5 inches. The rest of it is pretty straight up and down. It was a smaller log. This makes very good tabletops, this flat stuff. Especially the oak. Red oak makes a really nice tabletop. You can get that thing shined up with some polyurethane like you can't believe. It's nice and smooth. It stays that way. So I pick those out of here as I go down the pile. It all depends on what the person tells me they're going to do with the wood as to what kind of wood that I'll give them. And I explain it to them too, and most of them agree with me that they don't have a problem with what I'm telling them. So anyway, I'll go over that red oak a little bit better and some of the grain when I'm making more furniture. Alright guys, well it's almost 4:30 already today, so I gotta go take Bullseye out one more time today and then I'll be done with my work. Have a good one.